Hey there, I just want to show you a couple things about these new Polycom phones, and it give you something to think about when figuring out what's the best solution to use if you're really all in on Teams. So if you're all in on Teams, you got a pretty good idea of how it works, and your users do, and they're using it now, and they're communicating, and things are either going really well or they aren't. But for most people, they're going to have to adapt to Microsoft Teams because it's not going anywhere. In most offices or people, whether that be home or in the office, they have a situation where these things are operating independently. So, like for example, you're using my telephones to be able to make and receive voice calls. Outside the business, and then inside the business for all internal voice calls, video meetings, chat, task management, presence, IM, all that stuff, file storage, it's all done within Microsoft Teams. Now, a lot of people have moved to cloud-based solutions, and they have, once again, it hasn't changed. They don't integrate. They're completely independent. So you make and receive your calls either on Polycom or Poly, Yealink, Cisco, any of these SIP phones. They all work well, and that's how some people want it. They want to keep these things separate, but for most people, they prefer to have one solution, and that can be Microsoft Teams on all devices with one login, one app to manage, and even have Polycom Microsoft certified phones if it makes sense for your business on your desktop. I think most people are going to really embrace the Microsoft Teams mobile app. If they haven't already, they're using it for communicating once again internally, but not externally. And all we're talking about doing is voice enabling or putting a dialing plan in place, more or less behind Microsoft Teams. So if you look at it that way, here's Microsoft Teams. If you want to be able to make and receive calls from it, it almost is set up like a SIP soft phone to 8x8 in this particular situation we're talking about, so that the calls button on your Microsoft Teams is now enables you to make and receive calls. You don't open up any other apps. It's a built-in soft phone. When you click on that, your dial pad comes up. You can click the call. You've got the ability to click on any of your contacts, have to go through. You add business SMS, so you can make and receive, text, and it comes through your business account, and it's all really slick. Now, some people want to have, not just a soft phone, but they want to have something on your desk, and that's where Plantronics and Polycom have gotten together as Poly and have some pretty unique solutions, and they are the company with some of the world's best phones and headsets. I think the big difference you're going to see at your business is the acoustic fence, which keeps these conversations, everything in your open air environment from everybody hearing them. So it's got the ability to just basically block out everything around you from chatter, loud machinery, barking dogs, all this stuff, just using echo cancellation to cancel out all sound waves except the actual speaker's voice. So acoustic fence is really kind of slick, and that's built into these new phones. They also have acoustic clarity, which kind of cleans things up, makes it, gives you acoustic echo cancellation, full duplex operation, which allow everybody to hear everybody real time, and so the microphone's pretty intelligent, and it finds out and figures out what's going on. It mutes people that need to be muted if there's silence or in the air, and then it automatically just kind of calibrates itself to have the best possible call. Noise block basically knocks out non-human noises like keyboard, paper shuffling, all that stuff. And it's pretty cool too. So we use background noise reduction and the automatic muting and gating. These are things that allow you to have the best possible, voice experience on these desktop phones. Noise block AI, like I said, is it sees nobody's talking, to automatically mute your microphone. So it just makes for a better call. So everything's more productive. These are the standard phones that we normally put out there: the 150, the 250, the 350, and the 450. You just get more buttons and a color screen. It's a little bit bigger as you move up the chain. They basically are almost at a point where they'll give you these phones or make you a really good deal on them because there's newer phones out. The newer phones would be the Poly, the ones that have Microsoft Teams integration. They also operate in a SIP as well. But for the most part, how do you really realize the full potential of Microsoft Teams? Well, with this new Microsoft Teams Poly, agreement, they've got a new phone that basically provides one-touch access to everything in Microsoft Teams: contacts, meetings, voicemail, whole ball of wax. And so it's got really multi-touch LCD screens using Android 9.0, so you can put other apps and things on there, but for the most part, it's running Teams on there. So it's got the acoustic clarity, the background noise suppression, all those things built in. And even the highest, one of the phones, the 500, basically does Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. So, it's, you don't even need cabling for it. So that works out pretty good. So when you look at it, there's the old school versus the new school. So you have the VVX traditional SIP phones, or you have the CCX new media phones. And the big difference is programmable keys on one versus an LCD touchscreen on the other running Android 9.0. Huge difference, I think, and where things are going. So, they've got, basically from basic entry, the 400 to the executive level, which is the 500, or 600. So, you can have it with a cordless headset, without a corded handset. How do you want it to work? You've got multiple options here. It's a really slick phone. Like I said, it's got all the cancellation stuff to be able to make sure you have the best quality voice call. So you have a couple different sizes. You have the 5-inch LCD screen, and that's on the 4 and 500. And then you've got, there's the 400, as you can see. One of the middle is operating in SIP mode, so that works on like any SIP license. Then that's the one that wouldn't be concerned about Teams. It's kind of an entry-level phone. It's got, 5-inch display, like I said, acoustic clarity, defense, all that stuff. So it's real good for basic users in common areas. When you go from the 400 to 500, which same basic footprint, you get a dedicated Microsoft Teams button. You get noise block AI, you get integrated Bluetooth, which helps you with using your own personal AirPods or whatever you want to use to be able to talk Bluetooth to your desktop. So, and it comes with or without a handset. So that's pretty much what, that's what most people would have. That's the 500. Like I said, you can plug headsets into it, use cordless, use Bluetooth. It's not a very big phone, but it's a very nice phone. It's got a piece of stereo equipment. You can choose from dark or regular mode, so you can depend on how you want to look at it. So when you move to the 500, once again, it's the same touch screen. It's got all the same poly stuff, a dedicated Teams button, like I said, a couple of USB ports on the back of it, and then of course running Android, Bluetooth, and it's great for your cubicle workers. So, then you start looking at how these things work in dark mode. You see that's what it looks like for calls. That's what the display looks like for your calendar. That's what it looks like if you're in a meeting. This is what it looks like if you're checking voicemail. That's just, just different dark screens that allow you to see kind of what's going on with the phone. It's like I said, this is the latest and greatest one's come out. It's got a couple of gig ports in the back, so it doesn't slow down your network, integrated Bluetooth, like I said, and a few things like that. You want to go from the 500 to 600 if you want a bigger screen, and you want integrated Wi-Fi. That's the two big things it brings to the table. So there's a 7-inch screen. Once again, running Microsoft Teams. You see everything that you see in Teams. This is what you use for managers, executives, and answering positions. So it works out really well. It's got all the same features and capabilities we talked about, just a much bigger display. And of course, the ability to do Wi-Fi. So as you can tell, these are really nice phones that are suited for any of the poly headsets. They bought Plantronics, so I mean they've got a really good solution here, and it's very cost effective. So you'd have entry level, you'd have knowledge worker, you'd have knowledge worker with no handset, and then executive, and then executive without handset. Those are all just the different choices that you have. And you see basically they're not very expensive, but they're very feature rich. Like I said, match them up with the right headset. You got a perfect solution for your end users. Also, there are some poly, video components that are very, very tightly integrated with Microsoft as well, Microsoft Teams as well. And we can show you those. So you take a look, user, personal, work style, what all, and you kind of figure out how many of each one you need, and that's where we go. Now, where can you get them? Well, of course, the best place would be, usually the least expensive place, because now they've got them all over the place, from Dell and Amazon, CDW to Walmart, and various ones. So you see each one, each one's got a different price, for the same phone. They're kind of all over the map, but within $20, $30, something like that. So, you got online pricing that you compare and look for those. Here we did one where I looked at just a regular 500 phone, and you can see a Newegg at $259 was the winner. CDW was the highest at $371.99. So the difference between those two is, $112 a piece. So you got 100 users, that's $11,000 difference. So that can swing you one way too. I like 8x8 because they have everything. They've got a lot of things with analytics, which has really become popular. Omnichannel contact center. These are all things that you have to go to third parties on pretty much everybody else that I've worked with. Nobody else has it built in like they do at 8x8, where it's all one company that's providing it. So you've got, video can be used for backup to Teams. You got integration into everything, pretty much on the map, except for possibly your customized, your homegrown solutions, which require a little bit of programming, but can still accomplish the same integration. So 8x8 Voice for Teams integration, how does it work? It's a cloud-based integration between 8x8 and Microsoft. There's no hardware, it's all software. It's all we have. Basically 8x8 has their SBC inside the data center. So it's enterprise grade telephony and global PSTN connectivity that you want and need with Teams through a single interface. So how it looks is, you have, Teams over here doing its thing with presence and video meetings and file storage and task management, all that stuff. Direct routing to cloud allows all the features and capabilities that come with 8x8, from call recording and speech analytics to free calling to 47 countries. Then there's the whole omni-channel, with adding email, web chat, SMS, and social media to your call center. These are all things that are huge. So then you start looking at the phones. You got soft phones, which everybody can use, or most people use, and you got IP endpoints, or both. It's kind of whatever people want to do. You can use both, if you want to. Now, here's where we get into a situation where we make a decision between the two, whether it be the Microsoft Teams certified phones or the regular standard polys have been out for a long time. So what you have happen is, really when you look at the older Polycom phones over on the right, there's no real presence available with the desktop. I can tell if a guy's on the phone or not, unless he's on another Polycom phone. But if he's on his, if he's using the soft phone in Teams, I can't tell. I can't tell he's on the phone. So what happens if Teams goes down? When Teams goes down for whatever reason, it has been going down. The CCX phones go down too. So they're really just basically Android, touch screens that are talking back with the app back to the main, in the cloud back to Microsoft. So now, if Teams goes down to VBX phones, they still work. Okay, so that's a little bit different. They still make and receive calls. We don't really have chat and things of that nature, but at the end of the day, we can use that within the 8x8 Work app. So all-in-one solution, it's got UCaaS or the phone system without CCaaS, the contact center, everything all in one. Single point of contact for all support, service, phones, contract center, everything. Latest and greatest technology is always up to date. Zero hardware, phone company lines. Microsoft Teams integration allows you to do everything in Teams. CRM integration, they'll integrate, obviously with NetSuite when you get there. There's a possibility that for, around 10 grand, we could probably set up everything you need to make your existing homegrown solution work until you get to NetSuite. Omnichannel is going to give you what you need for email, web chat, SMS, social media integration, callback and queue, web chat from the website, outbound calling, extensive reports on everything. I think you've seen that already. Speech analytics and AI to track customer sentiment, and analytics on every customer and employee interaction. So then you can use software and hardware or hardware phones, and it acts as a backup solution for presence, chat, and video when Teams is down. So that's one of the things that people like. Now, other companies can integrate to Teams. So, there's a company called Calls to Teams. Basically, they have a platform and they're white labeled by several, but this is what most people are using when they say they talk to Teams. So any PBX or cloud provider that can support SIP trunks can connect to the SBC box that comes with Call to Teams. So what happened is, it's just basically a gateway, that allows, like I said, the Microsoft Teams client to be a soft phone. On the PBX. I mean, at the end of the day, that's pretty much what they're doing. So it could be a Mitel PBX, it could be Vonage, it could be BroadSoft, it could be Avaya. Doesn't really matter. So at the end of the day, if you want to look at some more information about all this, go to our website at www.brooksideux.com. There's sections on Microsoft Teams, Contact Center, all these things are there, and we'd really love to speak to you because we're really helping a lot of people move everything into this environment, and Teams is something that's very important. So, Brookside Cloud Connectivity Solutions, www.brooksideux.com.